On this week of Subway ownership drama, if you don't know who I am, I'm Wesley Oaks, own a Subway here in the Birmingham area of Alabama. I have one location and I just kind of go through some of what it's like, some of the ups, some of the downs. A few things have happened since my last video. I've had some more stuff break down, crazy employees and some things, so just to kind of catch you up. I had my toaster oven, it had an employee called me, said it had a loud pop. I was like, oh, great, more stuff breaking down, right? It's been the story of my life. I probably should do a recap on all the repairs I've had to do since the 6-7 months I've owned this store. A lot of that's going to be because the guy who owned it before me didn't really maintain equipment that good, so you know, is what it is. Fortunately, the speed oven thing just happened to be a spring that holds the door and hits a button and lets the toaster know when you open and close it for like the circuit board. Basically that spring, I guess it got old and the loud pop was the metal snapping away. I opened up the side of it, I jimmy rigged it with a paper clip to keep that little button closed until I could order a new spring. Got my spring in, repaired the toaster myself, saving me some money. I think this time it only cost me 20 bucks. And then that paper clip, lifesaver. Next thing that broke down recently, I have cabinet cooler, like the drawers where you store stuff. We have one that's refrigerated. That one is now starting to sweat and leak water into the floor. Should be a pretty simple fix. I gotta go up to the store today actually. I'm gonna fix that one. But that should just be a clogged drain pipe. 90% of the time that's what that is. I gotta go up there about closing time, pull it off the wall, get all the heavy shit off the top of it, suck out that drainage pipe, clear it out. I just use like a little shop vac, close the hole up, suck it out. Usually that works pretty good. I've had to do that same thing with my walk-in fridge, just maintaining like some HVAC equipment. I really need to learn how to do HVAC because the third thing that broke was the meat side of my unit where we store like all of our meats and cheeses. It broke. Employee noticed that it was not cooling. It was working like that morning and then it had stopped cooling. We very quickly condensed everything on the veggie side. So the sandwich unit, for those that don't know, there's a meat and veggie side at Subway, and those are actually two separate refrigerated units instead of one big solid unit. If that one side broke down, I can move everything over to the veggie side in like smaller pans, make everything fit, or at least I can at my store because I have enough space for that. And I move all the food over there. I can run the store off that one side until I get the meat side back up and running. It's not the best. You have to constantly refill the smaller pans and it's harder, especially during a rush when things are constantly getting depleted and having to need refilled. At least we can operate, at least we can serve guests. So that's another thing I had. I had a guy come in, awesome dude, but it was like $1,000, you know, to try to get this thing fixed. It didn't work. So now I'm having to actually buy a whole new meat side of that sandwich unit. And thank God for the same guy. He's helping me. He knows other franchisees and stuff, and he's helping me source a unit from another franchisee that's not that old. It's going to save me a couple $1,000 using it and bringing it to the store instead of buying a brand new one. So I'm gonna try that, go that route, and he's even gonna install it for me. I had an employee, I fired him. I had the town hall call me. Town hall was like, hey, we got Saturday, Sunday, we have events at the park, and my store is right across from the park. We got events all day. You might get extremely busy. So, okay, thank you. So I scheduled an additional person on that shift. So that instead of having like our usually at our store, for the numbers we do, we get by with 2 people on every shift. So I just went ahead and scheduled a third. We did that, and this guy had like the balls to be like, he left early for one. He left his shift early. Then he said, I'm not coming in for my shift tonight. But he was like, I can't just sit there with 3 people. And he's like, if you do this again, his words were, I refuse to do this 3-person stuff ever again, blah, blah, blah. So I just replied, okay, no worries, you're fired. Left it at that. I wrote out a lot more choice words. This guy needs like a reality check. Guy has like 0 work ethic, terrible with guests, has like a blank stare when he's talking to guests, like not very like friendly. I knew when I hired him, he was an introvert. It came across as just being nervous at the interview. Figured maybe he'd warm up after a while and do better. And I've tried to, you know, coach him. So really it's a blessing. And anyway, fired that guy. So that's another thing that's been going on. But my remodel is almost finished. I have to finish tiling and stuff like that, and installing some LED panels in the bathroom. Really got to get this remodel finished up. It's almost done. But man, if I was to recap everything that's broken down since I've bought it, let me just say just real quick. Let's see, the toaster ovens had 2 major ones which I've had to repair. Those were $500 a piece. The minor one with the spring, I basically replaced all of my walk-in freezer, and that's been an on and off issue, probably a dozen different visits on that to get that working. Compressor's fine. The defroster section is like hit and miss. I don't know what the HVAC guy did, but it's set up now, I guess, on a timer. But I have like it will melt all the ice into water and it'll refreeze it. So I have like basically an ice snowman building up in my freezer that I have to murder every now and then, and until my system builds a new ice snowman. So I got that going on. What else? A leak from the old HVAC system for part of the building happened. Had that happen. I had my AC go out. Had that fixed. Just told you about the meat side going out. Had that fixed. I think that's about it. But each one of those adds up to a lot over 6 months. I'm thinking there's some more. I just can't think of them right now. There has been a lot. So I'm very much ready for things just to get smooth sailing and, you know, kind of level out. It's been an expensive journey, of course. Store has made enough money to where all this has really been covered. Yes, it eats into your profits and yada yada. But well, I got a phone call now, so I'm gonna end this video. Yeah, catch y'all in the next one.